The Dingers podcast is on the air. I'm your host, Mitch, and we're back. The boys are back together. We got Jake, Kevin, and Jeffrey here. We're ready to talk some Cubs baseball. We're coming off a really good week. A good week after a very low weekend. If you can remember back to the Red Series, I think that was the low of this season, but Cubs got hot at the right time. So we're ready to talk some Cubs baseball. Before we get started, remember we are live on YouTube every Monday night on the On Tap Sports Network channel. So make sure you subscribe, hit the subscribe button and follow us. Don't miss an episode there. And remember, we're free and available wherever you find your episodes, whether that's Spotify, Google, Apple. We're available all those places. So, yeah, make sure you're subscribed to that so you never miss a Dingers episode. And follow us on Twitter at Dinger Cubs. That's where we're engaged in the most conversation with you Cub fans and our listeners. So hit us up, ask us a question. We love to talk Cubs baseball, not just with us four, but with all of you. So, yeah, guys, how are we feeling after this week? And, I mean, we're still in San Diego. Is it weird that we played a Saturday, Sunday, a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then the fourth game is on a Monday? Is that weird, or is it just me?
I had to remind myself that there was a game today. I thought for sure, because Monday's an off day for a lot of teams typically, and I was like, oh no, we get some West Coast late. Well, not even that late tonight, but some.
Yeah. It is late.
No, it's late.
Jeff and I are old men. We wake up super early in the morning.
I mean,
these 8 o'clock start times are killing me.
And that the series carries over the weekend into the next,
yeah,
it's weird. I'm just not.
I honestly, here's how I know there's a game. I get the lineup to make my dinger pick, and I wasn't getting one forever today.
Yeah.
And I thought it must be an off day. I didn't even bother to look. It must be an off day. And then it finally got texted. I'm like, oh, I guess there's a game today.
And you were first. And you're first on the.
I picked first. Hey, has anybody ever noticed that normally when I'm at the top and pick first, that we go on a losing streak?
Well, don't say that.
Let's not start that.
We won yesterday.
You have all sorts of theories around the dinger picks. If I celebrate a pick, we lose the game. All sorts.
I got them all. I got them all wrote down. Sometime I'll read them all to you.
It's cool, Rain Man. It's cool. We got you.
Yeah, but you were first yesterday and we won, so we're good.
That was rare. I'm like, Christ, I'm picking first. We're gonna lose.
Well, let's jump into it. Let's start out. I want to start out talking pitching because, I mean, we've had Stroman absolutely just if you were to say a bright spot in this season, Stroman's name has to come up, and he's been pitching great. Put another performance on the board, but even more so, let's talk Taillon, because that's one where he hasn't put together a solid outing where you would say he's kept us in the ball game, and we finally got a good pitching performance out of Jameson Taillon. And I think the whole time I've been okay. I'm feeling good about Taillon. I have that he's gonna, just because he's had a career where he's been a pretty good pitcher. So that was how I was feeling going into it. I knew he was struggling, but we got a good pitching performance out of Taillon. How do we go from here as Cubs fans? Is that something that now we can put trust in? Where are you guys at with Jameson Taillon? Kevin, let's start with you.
So I was a little more worried because he's on a 4-year contract. I was a little worried, is this going to be a dumpster fire in a couple of months or in a year?
We could cut him.
Still, right?
We could DFA him.
Right. I mean, you got.
Hey, Dale Hosmer is no longer on this team.
Yeah, but Dale Hosmer is being paid $750,000. That's
bingo
to stay at home,
68
and watch
million.
games.
How do I win that lottery?
Right, but I was very happy to see this start. For me, I'm in the cautiously optimistic. I hope he's turned a corner. I want to see another good one. But to do it against, that offense is fantastic. You'll love to see it. Yeah, I feel pretty good about it. Jeff, how you feeling about it?
I've been on the fence all season, and be completely honest, I still have a good portion of my cheeks on the fence. I need to see repeatability.
Those are big cheeks, folks. Big cheeks on that fence.
Yeah, squat heavy and often. But I don't know that there just wasn't flashes of anything leading up to it was Friday's start, right? That we won 2-1 when he started. Not a lot of run support there. We still got the win, and he did pitch a really fantastic game, had a great stat line. But I got to see it again. He's been completely opposite of like Smiley and Stroman, where Stroman pitched excellent, had a huge clunker of a game, and has been just lights out since then. So to me, Jameson's got to do it a couple of more times. Jake, what are your feelings?
So I've talked about it, I think, on here, and I know I've tweeted about it. I think that this was kind of the positive regression that was bound to come for Taillon based on his history and the underlying stats. So just to kind of gloss over them, I've talked about pitching plus and stuff plus on here. And by qualified starters, which includes, well, not even qualified, of the 8 starters on the Cubs, guys that have gotten starts at least, Taillon has the best stuff plus at 102, which is about average. It's solid. Location plus 104, and for a total pitching plus of 103. So you expect good results from numbers like those, especially from a starter. So I think that, like I said, plus what we've seen from him in the past, it was only a matter of time before we started to lock in. We've talked too about previous pitching acquisitions specifically for the Cubs, like Lester and Darvish, them struggling early on in the season after being signed to long-term contracts. Just took them a little bit to settle in. And I know, yes, so I did talk about that. I said Taillon isn't the level of those two guys, but I do still think that he could be an anchor of sorts in the rotation. And I agree with what you guys said. Like, I don't think it's fixed yet, but I think it's a really, really encouraging sign. How did you feel about it, Mitch?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it, I think it was 2 episodes ago, that he's just been kind of a bad luck loser. A lot of times he hasn't been giving up a lot of hard contact, but he's been giving up a lot of runs early in the first inning. And I had a good feeling once he got past that first inning. In all of his other starts, he's kind of cruised there second, third, and then he runs back into a little bit of trouble the third time through the order. And so I felt really good. If he got past the first, I was like, okay, now we're going to get a Jameson Taillon, finally a Jameson Taillon start where he's going to get to the 5th or 4th or whatever. And then Ross will probably do the right thing and get him out of there. And that kind of worked out. That was exactly kind of how it played out. And so, yeah, I'm confident. Like, he's one that, like, he's done it for enough years where you can kind of trust his stuff. It's not going where he's going to go in the tank and you're not going to trust him being able to go out there and eat innings and give you some good starts. I still think I said this 2 weeks ago, I still think he's not completely back from his little injury they had. And so that's why I think the innings limit a little bit is on him, which when you had Steele in the rotation and you had Wesneski to be the kind of the long guy or Assad, like, I think that was perfect. But I guarantee you, as the season goes on, we're going to start seeing the Jameson Taillon of the Yankees and with the Pirates, where he's going to be gassing it up there and eating innings, and his pitch count is going to be going up a little bit higher for every start. So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good about Jameson Taillon. And it kind of leads into the rotation as a whole. We have Hendricks back. I think, have we officially talked about Hendricks being back? Jake, he's your favorite Cub of all time.
Yeah,
he's back.
Yeah. He just threw a 6-pitch first inning, by the way, folks.
Hendricks doing Hendricks thing, man.
I think we got to start taking notes. The professor is leading class again.
Not so fast. He's already into 4 pitches in the second inning. Just calm down.
But and he had a really good outing his last outing. First one was a little rough, and he had one of those in Iowa, but then he pitched really, really good to end his rehab assignments in Iowa and pitched great, the kind of Hendricks of old last to start. So I'm feeling good with, you get Steele back in that rotation, I'm feeling pretty good about where we're at in our rotation. How are you guys feeling? Like, are you feeling good? Like, I know
optimistic.
Does Steele concern you, like that him going down a little bit?
Not really. It's weird because I think when it first happened, it was described as throbbing, which I think, like, obviously that's concerning from a guy who had Tommy John surgery
at different times.
Interesting that you bring up throbbing there, Jake, because if you take your shirt and just pinch it a little bit, your shirt says a different word.
It says boner. Jake's shirt says boner.
For those listening, I'm wearing a Boney Bear shirt. So yeah, if you pinch the letters in, it's boner.
No, it's a boner shirt.
Great taste in music.
Thank you. Yes, we're going to see them in August here in Madison. Awesome. I can't wait.
Master Boner.
Hey, really quick, we didn't talk about this at the beginning of this. Speaking of music, if you are in Iowa and you are interested in going to the Iowa Cubs game, friend of the podcast, Ian Mahan, is singing the national anthem
on
June 24th.
24th. He told me he was going to be in town the 23rd, so I might try to get down to Des Moines Friday night because I am playing in that golf outing that raises money for the Kids Cancer Connection of Central Iowa. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it to the game to see him sing. So.
We should do that.
I still have to see if I can get out there, but yeah. If you're there, that's that's a side note, but I want to make sure you plug you in. I think the thing with Steele is interesting. I'm not taking it too seriously because it doesn't seem like they're taking it too seriously. Like yes, there's an IL stint, but it kind of makes sense to play it safe.
This early in the season, of course.
What'd you say?
Especially this early in the season.
Totally. And because we've got Hendricks back, and Wesneski looked good coming in relief. Like, we've got options. I know we're going to talk about the bullpen and how some other starting options could slot into the bullpen later this season. But yeah, I'm not taking it too seriously. He doesn't seem too concerned about it, and they left him in the game after he first complained about pain too, which is like probably just pull him to be safe.
Just walk it off.
Yeah. Walk off a little forearm pain. Just do some some handstand walks across the field. I don't know. Did any of you guys feel differently about it? Did anybody feel like concerned?
I was a little worried they were gonna not do the IL stint. They were going to let this one run like we have with a few players this year and have an injured guy out sitting on the bench for like a really long time. We've done that quite a few times. In my kind of favorite thing, like I'm glad it's not a big deal. I'm glad everybody's kind of cool with it. And then it brought Miguel Amaya up to the big league club was the corresponding move, which was like woot woot, but that's not really related to the Steele thing other than same move. But Jeff, what'd you think?
I kind of thought don't screw around and get him off the field, to be honest with you.
Yeah. When it initially happened, that was my thing. It was like, okay, why? If he has some discomfort, he's been your ace.
The guy.
Like 1A. Like with Stroman. Like let's save him a little bit. We don't, especially when you have Wesneski in there to be able to eat up some innings. Like let's do this smart thing.
Shit.
But I know we felt really good about having Wesneski in our bullpen, but we've had some guys kind of resurge in our bullpen. Like Merriweather's put together some pretty good innings as of late.
I tell you what, we talk shit about somebody, they turn it around.
That's all you need to do. Pick the next guy.
Madrigal, what?
Pick the next guy, and
look at what Madrigal's been doing in Iowa.
He hit a home run. Hit a home run.
Pick
Master Boney. But like you've seen Fulmer put together. The thing with Fulmer and Merriweather at the beginning of the season, and I think I said this, is they have the stuff. They have some nasty stuff. It's just they were struggling with command and getting themselves in really poor counts and walking guys and then relying on one or two pitches way too much. And so now you're seeing them kind of figure it out. And I mean, I relate it back to that in spring training this year, they brought everybody and their dog out for tryouts for the bullpen, and nobody really got a lot of innings to really get their arm ready for the season during spring training. And so they went into the season still trying to figure out their bullpen because they had everybody trying out for bullpen spots. And so that was kind of, and now they're getting enough innings, and now you're seeing a little bit more better command. You're seeing their stuff work. You're seeing guys kind of fall into roles. And I mean, Light Show has been absolutely filthy. I love that he signed back, and that now we're seeing him kind of find his role. So like, how are you guys feeling about the bullpen?
Well, do you guys want to hear something interesting going back to the Stuff Plus numbers that I brought up earlier?
Would love to.
More numbers.
You know, I love numbers.
I know, Jeff. I know you. I've gotten you into numbers this season, baby.
I've been pissed since I was a kid because there's only alphabet soup and not number soup.
There needs to be. We got to bring number soup. We'll talk to Campbell's. So all of Julian Merriweather's pitches on, like, according to Stuff Plus, rate like excellent. So 121 on the four-seam fastball, 121 on the slider, and 112 on the changeup. To have a 3-pitch mix, all pitches over 110 is fantastic. Like Mitch talked about, it's finding the zone. He did have a 1.5 whip in May, but he pitched to a 169 ERA. So there's a little bit of luck involved there, but also, getting the strikeouts to strand guys. The funny thing is, Leiter, there must be something with the model that doesn't like. Maybe it's not good with. I don't even know if it has a splitter on here. But all of his pitches, Stuff Plus, are 90 and below, which obviously that's not the case for his splitter. His splitter is just disgusting. I tweeted the other night that it literally had me laughing out loud to myself on the couch. That's how good it is. But yeah,
here's Merriweather's baseball savant.
Yeah.
Like that red is good.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, I mean, so I watched a really interesting episode. For anybody that listens to, follows fantasy baseball, Eno Saris, who's the co-founder of the Stuff Plus Pitching Plus model, and Chris Welsh, who is one of the best prospect minds in fantasy baseball. They were talking about the baseball savant pages and whether or not they actually mean anything. And the two stats that they came down to for hitting and pitching, the hitting stat that they said they look at is max exit velocity, because that shows potential power, and then barrel rate, because that shows how often guys are squaring up baseballs. For pitching, what they talked about is like a lot of those numbers don't really mean much. Like they're not predictive, except for whiff percentage. So whiff rate. So yeah, if you see whiff rate really high on a guy's savant page, like chances are, if the rest is blue, it's probably going to catch up. Like it's probably going to catch up to the whiff rate. And as you see,
here's Leiter's
Merriweather again. Oh, Leiter. Yeah.
Leiter, look at his whiff percentage.
95.
Yeah, 95%, 95th percentile. So yeah, I mean, the Cubs bullpen is nasty. Nick Birdie had appendicitis, right? Is that why he's out?
Yep.
Dude, that bums me out because that guy looked nasty.
And
so I hope he comes back healthy. Yeah, I hope he comes back healthy. I know that former top prospect Josh Vitters. You guys remember Josh Vitters?
Yeah. Yep.
Did you ever read the article about why he never made the complete comeback? No. So he had appendicitis, and something with the surgery left scar tissue that his swing was never able to recover, and he never felt right. And then finally, when he was 30 or something, they figured out what was wrong, and he got surgery, and he tried to make a comeback. And at that point, it was kind of too late. But yeah, so fingers crossed for Nick Birdie. Usually, appendicitis surgery, I think, is something that goes smoothly. So
mine did.
Yeah, I mean, yours did.
Yeah, I had one in 2012, I think.
Didn't
it's insane pain, right? It's crazy pain.
I tell you what, it sucks. I woke up, I thought as soon as I get out of surgery, slap some shoes on me, send me out the door. I'm not staying here. I got out of surgery. I'm like, don't touch me. Leave me alone.
How
just
was
like-
how was the symptoms of the appendicitis like? Like you have it, right? That's what I've heard.
Oh, I'm an idiot. I'll tell you right now. I woke up in the middle of the night, drenched in sweat with the worst pain in my side, and I thought, maybe I got to take a dump.
I mean, like,
I went to
I
the
don't think that's
bathroom.
unfair.
I went to the bathroom, and I'm like, I'm not pushing. That's not what that is. I went back to bed, and I got up, and I showered, and I went to work. And by the time I got to work,
Dude.
my T-shirt was wet. We're having like
Oh my God.
annual reviews that day, and I asked my boss, I said, can I go first? I don't feel good. I want to go home. He's like, no, we're going alphabetically.
Oh,
Why coughing?
oh no.
I'm like, my first name? He goes, no. So by the time it gets to me, like I go in his office, I lay my head on the desk. He's like, what's wrong with you? I said, what part of I don't feel good do you not understand? He's like, well, I guess we'll make this quick and you can leave. I'm like, perfect. I go home, I call the doctor, I make an appointment. They can't get me until the next morning.
Dude.
Oh my goodness.
Whatever. That day I go down to a truck pull in Indianola with my brother. I get home at like 11:30. By the time I get home, I can't even stand up straight. I go to bed, I get up.
How many beers did you have at the truck bowl?
17.
I mean, for Mark Grace, you got to honor the greats.
Right.
My favorite Cub. So he kind of suspected of appendicitis. And he goes, I got to send you to Ames for imaging. I'm like, all right. He goes, you want something for the pain? I'm like, yeah, that'd be great. He goes, you want a pill or a shot? I said, I'll take a pill. So I had to go to the pharmacy. I was waiting around there. They weren't helping me. I should have got the shot. Finally get the Ames, get the imagery, do the surgery. I tell you what, tying my shoes, my abdomen turned black and blue from just bending over and tying my shoes days after the surgery.
It's a long recovery, right? I mean, how long until you felt like yourself again?
Probably about a week and a half. But
before you were back in like the gym, like actually.
Oh, I wasn't going to the gym back then. They kept me out of work for 2 weeks.
Look at you bettering yourself,
right
now, Mr. Gym Guy doing the 70.
So, needless to say, we're not going to see Bernie for at least
long time.
Yeah, I mean, look at what's his face, Clint Jackson Frazier was out for weeks.
Wait, is that the guy we had last year for a little bit with the lip ring, eyebrow ring, whatever?
Yes.
Yeah, he was a ginger, just like you.
Yeah,
is a ginger, I should say. He still is. He's still alive.
He's still with us.
He's kicking around. He was in the White Sox, or for I don't know if he's still on there.
You gotta love a good day walker.
Yeah.
Somebody that doesn't cast a shadow, have a soul, nothing.
Anyway, appendicitis. Yeah, that's what Nick Birdie's out with.
But like,
are you scars?
Are you feeling better? No. Are you feeling better about this bullpen? Like, are you feeling better? Do you think Cubs Nation is feeling a little bit better? Are they seeing it?
I feel like we're turning the corner and are on our way down the road to a much improved arm barn. And I think a lot of it has to do with what the comment you made about the number of innings people got in spring training.
Yep.
And I'm wondering if like some of the newbies, that maybe they didn't have like structure nailed down or concentration or getting down to business. This is how I need to run my day to be in this major league bullpen. Maybe some of them take it a little bit for granted. Like, hey, I'm in the show. I don't know.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the Seiya of his spring training, because his was cut short with the injury. And then when he came back up with the big league club, he struggled for a while because he was really just doing his spring training then. So it kind of reminds me of that situation. Like maybe something needs to be a little restructured around spring training next year. Yeah.
Maybe just not so many guys.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that by next year we have more of a bullpen set. And of course, I mean, how many of these guys, I don't know what the contract status is on guys like Fulmer and Merriweather. One of them is a 2-year. Fulmer, I think, is a 2-year.
Yeah.
I don't think it's Merriweather. I think Fulmer got 2 years. I can't remember, but it doesn't bode well for the bullpen being set going into next season, because we've seen, so you know that I've been high on Jeremiah Estrada, but whoa. I mean, when all he's doing is throwing fastballs and then he throws a slider and it gets pummeled. I mean, just annihilated. I don't know. I mean, again, Stuff Plus rates it a 120, so it should be good. Maybe he just doesn't have feel for it, like, command.
I think he doesn't have feel for it, and you could tell it. And it was a bat versus the Reds a week ago. He came in, and it was a pretty big situation. I think the bases were loaded, and he threw a 14 or 16 pitch at bat. In the last 10 pitches, 11 pitches were all fastballs. And it ended in, I think it was Steele hitting a ball in the gap and scoring 2 and kind of breaking the game open. And it was, he even shook Gomes once to go back to the fastball, because you could just tell he does not have confidence, especially in that situation, because of the full count, to throw a slider for a strike. And I mean, at that point, you get 14 pitches to time up a guy on his fastball. Of course, you're gonna hammer it. But that was so telling to me, and that was it made me change my tune a little bit on Estrada. He's good, but
he's got the stuff.
He's got to learn. That's for next season. He's got to learn another 2 pitches. I mean, I think. Just had something to go with his fastball, something to ride off the fastball.
Does he have a third? I feel like he does have a third pitch that he just flashes. Hang on, where is it? Estrada. He's got a changeup. He's got a changeup. But
maybe Assad could teach him to pitch one of his 6 pitches.
Yeah, right.
Now, question: does this week of baseball, playing really good against the Rays and really good against the Padres, teams that are good, teams that you expect to make the playoffs, is that going forward for the rest of this season, coming off the Red series, we were pretty low. We're kind of changed our tune from the first 3 weeks of the season where we're hot, hit the Red series. Okay, this team is not a playoff team. This team might be selling again. Does this week of baseball make us go back a little bit and say, okay, we are good. We have aspects of this team that are good. Can we still push for a playoff spot, and what needs to keep happening? And what do you want to see? Maybe a player be called up, a change. What do you want going forward? And what has this changed your expectations? What do you think, Kevin?
I think we're in the uneasy zone. I want to say yes. And I want to be really positive, but we've been burned on this before. I don't want to see another sell-off. And the unfortunate part is a sell-off would include Stroman, who is the shining light of the team right now. Yeah. I want to see him still pitch in Cubby Blue. I really like the Amaya call up, because that's kind of was going to be my thing of let's get him up with the big league club. I'm a little confused on what we're going to do. Are we going to get rid of Barnhart? Are we going to try to trade him to a catcher, a team that
we're paying Dale to stay at home? Why not pay Tucker too?
Right. I mean, we might.
That's his name, Jeff. By the way, it's Tucker.
Yeah. Hey,
he's got another season though. He's got another year on the contract. So
I was surprised to find out that Merriweather's name was Julian. I thought it was Lewis.
Yeah, and his brother Clark.
That's right. I'll tell you what, those guys will help us get to the Pacific Northwest. I'll tell you that.
Oh man. But I'm optimistic. I want to say yes. I want to say some of these folks are going to kick it in, but there are some kind of glaring holes or little weird issues, Hap can't hit from the right side right now.
Yeah. Hap's just been on a slide for the last, I think Scott said at the beginning of the broadcast, 19 games.
Yeah.
This has not been, he's walking.
Yes.
But he's not, the balls aren't falling in, and it's really frustrating to watch as the president of the Ian Happ fan club.
Yep.
And we've also got his best friend on the podcast. we got Happ ties. I think my expectations are kind of back to where they were at the beginning of the season. So obviously when April we went on the tear, I was like, oh my God, we could be a playoff team. And then we slid, and I don't know. I mean, if we can win tonight, we're down 3-0. If we can come back and win this game to take this series, then I feel good. Like I feel really good about that, because that shows that like they don't have the quit. Like there's no quit in them, like we saw back in April. I think when I went on my rant about being bored, that was when they had kind of given up. Like it felt like they were kind of rolling over toward the end of games and like not really competing. So I think a lot of it does. Like I do think that some depends on Bellinger being healthy. And I don't expect him to be as good as he was to start the season. But again, like I've said, if he can be 75% of his MVP season, this team's good. This team's really good. And I do think that he can be that when he gets back. I don't know. I really don't want them to sell at the deadline. And I don't think that's still very much unclear. I don't think that the front office has the answer to that yet.
Yeah.
And
I think it's still give me some time.
That's both good and bad, right? Like you wish that it were at this point in the season, like, nope, if anything, we're buying. Especially as we always talk about the strength of this division or lack thereof. But I don't know, Jeff, think Mitch, go ahead.
I think here's might be long, but I'll start with this. They are who I thought they were. Meaning that, like, even if you go back to the Rays series, they won 1-0, they won 2-1, and they lost 3-4. Then you start with the San Diego series, and they win 2-1, and then they lose 6-0, and then they won 7-1. But you had a stretch of like 5 games in there where it was still 1-run ball games. And it's those, like, Cubs are going to have, if they're going to be good, they have to win in the margins and win a lot of those 1-run games. And right now, I don't know if they have enough talent to be able to come through and win enough of those to make the playoffs. Will we be right there within 3 or 4 games at the end of the season, possibly making the playoffs? Yeah, I think we'll be right there at the top, like, of the getting into the wild card. We'll be like 4 games out, 5 games out at the end of the season. That's why I kind of expect. And so that's tough. But going into the trade deadline, I think that we can still be in that spot, and that we can still try to add to this team. I've said it for years. I think at least a year, that the Cubs will get Shane Bieber. So I think they could make a trade and add to and still not make the playoffs, and be kind of like remember like the Reds a couple of years ago when they traded for Trevor Bauer, and they traded for, I can't remember, it was like 3 or 4 guys, but they traded for the next season. They made trades to try to win the following year, not that year. They were already losing, but they used their collateral of their farm system to be able to improve the team for next year. That's what I want the Cubs to do. Get major league talent. Go out and get some guys. You have the farm system. You could still look to, like, okay, we want to add. We might not make the playoffs, but let's try to add and better ourselves for next year and set us up to be.
And quit. Try to avoid free agency.
Yeah, so that's my thinking. I think they could still do that. Very well do that. They have the farm system. They have the dudes. Go for it.
No, I hope they're stubborn and they're not sellers. Like, even if they don't buy, don't sell.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you look at the starting rotation, like, talking about extensions, why not extend Stroman? He wants to be here. You want a guy in the rotation like that eats up innings. He doesn't have to be a number 1. He doesn't. Yeah. Like, he's a guy that he would go out there and be great. Like,
we're lucky that he's given number 1 stuff this season. He shouldn't be the number 1.
Yeah, so why not?
On a good team. He should be the number 2 or 3. And I think that as we've talked about, like I think I talked about this last time I was on a couple weeks ago. Steele and Stroman have acted like, have played like aces when they should be 2 or 3 guys.
Yep. Like, think about this. You have a guy like Caleb Killian, who's just a little bit off. Like, he's pitched better this year for Iowa. But you look at a team like Cleveland, and I'll say Shane Bieber again, like Cleveland loves their pitching. Like they loved,
and they've got a lot of it.
And they could take a guy like Killian that maybe just needs a change of scenery. And he has the stuff. Use him to get Shane Bieber. I don't know.
That'd be interesting. That'd be really interesting, actually. I don't think that. So I was high on Bieber last year. I remember talking about him. Like, I know we've talked about him on the pod before about him being a target. I am not as high on him this year. He's not. His velocity is down.
Oh, we lost Jake.
Jake, you're frozen.
Uh-oh.
Am I back?
No, now he's back.
Oh,
yep.
Hang on.
Shady's back.
I got to turn the
again.
broadcast off. I basically, so like, fantasy baseball comes into account in real baseball sometimes. And when you hear people in the fantasy industry, kind of across the board, people are down on Bieber and have been down on Bieber, but he's been out pitching the expected statistics since early last season. Whenever he came back and his velocity was just like way down, the velocity, as far as I know, has stayed down, and the results have been okay. I think he got blown up in a recent start. And so I don't know, like, if we could land Shane Bieber for Caleb Killian plus, we've got power. We've got some power bats in the minors.
Caleb Killian and Tucker Barnhart.
Yeah, there we go. That's a fair deal. That's a fair deal.
Put a bow on it.
I'm pretty sure the Guardians' catching position is like, their catcher is like the worst positional group, and I think I saw that the worst positional group in all of Major League Baseball.
So it'd be right at home.
Yes. Yeah.
Offensively.
Yeah. Shane Bieber's baseball savant. There's a lot of blue.
Yeah. So like, what's his ERA and then his xERA?
His xERA is 26.
His what?
And
no. Show like the actual numbers. Like, scroll down to like the tables.
Okay.
I'm curious, like, because I bet his ERA. I bet he's out.
His ERA is 3.72. His xERA is 4.89.
Yeah, that's a huge difference. So like that's saying the quality of contact. He's somehow, and they've got a solid defense in Cleveland. They've got some speedy guys in the outfield, and their infield defense is solid too. But yeah, I don't know. I like the idea, Mitch, of trying to trade for a starting pitcher for the future. I like that idea, like they did with Quintana. And people didn't love the Quintana outcome at the time, but I think looking back, like, Quintana was solid. When he was healthy, he was solid. And of course, you'd like to see them trade for a bigger splash than that. But whatever the market dictates, right? I mean, at the same time, you don't want a rotation that's topped with, number 3 starters, number 2, 3 starters, right? They need to go out and get an ace. And it would be, with the surplus that we have of offense, I think right now in the system, I'd rather see them trade young bats for an ace pitcher than rely on the free agent market this offseason.
Yeah, wouldn't it be nice if we could trade like 4 really young bats to like maybe the Padres and pick up like a Yu Darvish type of guy?
Trade him to the Angels and get Shohei.
I was kidding.
Like Owen Casey and like Ismail Mena, I think. Yeah.
Something that like I was thinking about this weekend, that on this pod, I don't think we've mentioned Dansby Swanson's name in a hot minute. It's been it's been like a month or two where we haven't even like mentioned the best shortstop in all of baseball.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think it's his style of game. Like, I think
Yes.
that's why, like, it's not super flashy. It's not like he's not hitting a ton of home runs, but what he's doing, like, I feel like we need to have like a Dansby Swanson minute every single episode to like give him appreciation what he's doing for the Cubs. Cause like he's outperforming every free agent for shortstop this year. The dude has been amazing defense, doing all the small things, batting second in our order, moving down and batting fourth when we need him. Like, and just moving runners over. Like when Nico goes and then he gets on base, you know, Dansby is going to move him over or do something that will benefit the team every single time, whether it's hit a ball in the gap or whether it's driving him in. Like Dansby's been on the offensive side, the most consistent. And that's like, we've talked so many years of just wanting consistency of like guys who don't strike out, guys who are doing the right thing. Dansby's it. So they got their guy. Like this has been long enough into the season where we can say now, like, the front office did a great job in getting the right guy.
Yeah, they definitely targeted who they wanted. And then on top of that, Swanson has shown up and not had that like free agent slide a little bit when they get their big contract. He's come in and he has played better than I thought he would, to be honest with you. Like I always kind of, you know, you see that slide a little bit, probably a little less production, maybe a little loss in defensive metrics and stuff like that. But he has just been, as Ron puts, sensational. And on top of that, he's fun to watch play the game. I mean, all those backhand, that was something that the broadcast talked about all the time. The backhand throw and picks and throws, and just it's so much fun to watch him play.
Well, like, and I think it's hard because like we've watched Javi for so long, like just come up and with a hose, just gonna, and like Dansby will only throw as hard as he needs to throw. Like, and it's kind of like, no, throw the ball. Let's go. Like, get it over there. Like Sean Dunston, that thing over there. But like, no, like he's just going to like, I'm going to get you out just barely, but I'm going to like, I'm saving my arm. Like, I'm not like, I love it.
I'm going to be here for a lot of years and this arm's going to throw a lot of balls over to first base. And I just only need to put, 70% on this one. Cause later I'm going to need another 70% ball and I don't want to have only 60% left. Like, he has been fun to watch. He's been a great, role model almost for like the rest of the team to just see, here's how you walk in, you do your job day in and day out. You don't have to be, the guy who's getting interviewed after every game. You don't have to be the guy who's hitting a home run every time you're up to bat. Just keep the line moving. Just keep, catch all the balls that are coming your way on the field. He's been fantastic.
There was something interesting. You kind of just mentioned it there, Kevin. There was something interesting that they talked about on the On the Waveland podcast today in reference to Cody Bellinger and how Bellinger doesn't have to be the center of attention anymore because he's not the homegrown, like rising star, like phenom that fell off. And I kind of wonder if like that's similar for Dansby, right? Because that's how it was for him in Atlanta, especially being from Georgia. So it's kind of funny that like this conversation's brought up because we haven't talked about Dansby because he's just been good. Like he's just been like day in, day out. He's just shown up and done his job and done an exceptional job.
Like any professional ball player should do.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, for real, like he's exactly what we wanted. And I was skeptical. I mean, for sure. I think I talked about it on here. Like, I know we talked about it during the offseason. Like, he was not my first choice. But again, super early. I think they showed the graphic on the broadcast over the weekend, one of the days. But like they showed the contracts, the shortstop contracts given out this offseason, and Dansby has the most WAR or something this season. One stat was like, Dansby was leading. And I still think I think Trey Turner is gonna straighten out. He'll be fine. I was less in on Bogarts. I don't know. Something about Bogarts is kind of like a gut feeling for me. I've never been super high on Bogarts. And Correa's not been great in Minneapolis, but again, I do think that he'll bounce back.
Isn't he hurt again?
He's been hurt off and on all season. Yeah.
I want to know what was in this physical.
It was the ankle surgery, right? Was it ankle or like lower leg or something like that? I think he had like a rod put in or some kind of, I don't remember.
Ow.
Yeah.
Ow.
Yeah, when he was in the minors, like it was before he even reached the majors. It was, so I don't know.
Before he was taught to steal signs.
I don't know. Who knows? We don't know what they were doing in the minors.
It would have been real bad if he had like kicked a trash can or something and hurt it.
Broken that
way. Yep.
The trash cans.
Looking forward. So the Cubs have this game on a Monday to end a 4-game series with San Diego. Then they played at the Angels for 3, which stinks that we will miss Shohei.
Right.
I mean, it's
Pitching.
good.
Pitching.
Yes, pitching. It's good that we miss him, but part of me just wanted to watch the Cubs face Shohei. Like, so I don't know.
And then we face your future teammate. I mean,
see him. Then we play the Giants, and then the following week we play the Pirates and Orioles. I mean, with the Giants and the Pirates, though, that's the kind of one that I'm looking forward to. Like, how are we going to play? The Giants aren't very good. And then to play the Pirates, is this the first time we've played the Pirates this year? I don't think we've played the Pirates. Maybe early on.
No, because I sold tickets to a Pirates game.
Super early.
I think we did play them.
No. Gosh, I don't remember.
We didn't.
We didn't? I could have sworn we played them.
Nope.
Blake Schnell is 75
April
pitches into the 4th.
April, they didn't play the Pirates. May,
Boom Mancini.
they didn't play the Pirates. In June, now they'll play the Pirates.
Foul ball.
So this will be the first time that we actually get to see the Pirates play. I'm still not sold. Like, the Cubs have moved into 3rd place now in the standings. We were in last there for a little bit, which feels good that we've moved ahead of the Cardinals. But like,
is Jennifer Hudson's boyfriend still on the Pirates?
No, it wasn't Jennifer Hudson. It was
Ariana Grande.
No,
you're getting closer.
He got tossed from the game we were at.
Yeah, he did.
Tucker.
Oh my God, Cole Tucker. No,
Cole Tucker.
I don't know where Cole Tucker is. Vanessa Hudgens.
Vanessa Hudgens.
My goal is, or for the Cubs, is that by the end of the Pirate series, that we have moved ahead of them in the standings.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair goal. I think that's very achievable. Ron's in the comments letting us know it's Vanessa Hudgens. Yeah,
I think he's with the Ron. Rockies. Is that right?
Yeah, he's in the Rockies AAA. That dude was supposed to be so good. Never
he couldn't score from 3rd base on Vanessa Hudgens.
Wow.
Mitch, I think those are good. Those are good expectations. I don't know what to make of the Giants. I didn't think, I was talking when Aaron Judge was going to sign with the Giants. I was like, what's attractive about the Giants? Ron really quick says he may not be in the majors, but he's always winning. Yeah, with Vanessa Hudgens, you're damn right, Ron. I don't understand what the draw was for free agents. I mean, like, Michael Conforto's coming around, but he's out with a bruised heel or something right now.
Yeah. Crawford's been going down.
Yeah, he's not. I don't know. Like, they have some young pieces. They're like a platoon heavy team right now. It's kind of mixing old players with a scrap pile with a few young guys that are good.
They're like a transformer, but not like the good Transformers.
The
Decepticons. Here we are talking about
I mean, isn't there a new Transformers movie coming out? I'm trying to be like hip
Age
with
of the Beasts.
Or that's got to be terrible.
The trailer, like the clips I've seen, just look brutal. But I think it depends on who they. I think it depends on the starting pitching that they face, because Logan Webb could be good. Anthony DeSclafani's been pretty solid this season, so. I don't know. I think it depends on, like I said, how the starting pitching matches up. I think when we face the Pirates, I really hope we just expose them.
Right.
I hope we and I think we will if we don't match up with Mitch Keller. Rich Hill. I can't. Other than that, I can't name another. Johan Oviedo, maybe. I don't know. They're kind of like cycling through guys in their rotation. Jeff knows.
No, I don't know what you're talking about. But I just saw the stat they put on the game that Marcus Stroman was the NL Player of the Week, and he is the first Cub since September of 2020 to win it. Does anyone have any idea who that was?
Wait.
September of 2020. Ian Happ.
Nico?
No.
Darvish?
No. Want me to tell you?
Kyle Hendricks.
I'll tell you. It's Alec Mills.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Did he pitch? Was that when he? I wonder if that was when he pitched a no hitter.
I think that was his no hitter.
Oh, that was his no
Oh
hitter.
God!
Oh, that makes sense.
Mills.
Wow.
He got
2020 season.
I think.
The shortened 2020 season. That was the last time the Cubs won.
Had an NL Player of the Week.
Ron Luce. Gross.
Yeah, it is gross.
Oh, man.
All right. Well, I mean, that does it for it. We've kind of talked through this week. I am more optimistic about the Cubs. I'm feeling good. They aren't boring
Bingo.
anymore. It was actually fun to watch some of the Cubs games this week. I do want to say I've been watching a lot of college baseball because the Iowa Hawkeyes made the regionals and watched a lot of them play. And it was fun. Not as good a baseball as watching Major Leagues. There's so many mistakes that happen that you're like you're just used to watching Major League Baseball, and you're like, okay, I remember making that play and doing the exact same thing and getting yelled at by the coach. But like it was fun. Like so I want to give it up because we're from Iowa. It's the first time Iowa's been in the regionals since like the 70s. So it's good. Rick Heller is a great coach. He was the one that I was going to go play for when I went to go to college, but then he went to UNI to go coach. So, but he's a great dude. He's got those Iowa boys and that program turned around. So watch some college baseball. It's fun. It's some fun going on. A lot of crazy things going on in college baseball, but yeah, I think the Cubs are going to market by the 15th of June. They'll be ahead of the Pirates in the Central Division.
I like it.
Book it. All right. Well, that does it for episode 122 of the Dingers podcast. Thanks for listening, and go Cubs.
If you guys were on death row, what would your last meal be?
Death row last meal.
Death row. Okay.
Ooh, Mabe's Pizza from Decorah, Iowa.
Ooh.
Joe and Giuseppe's. It's a great hole-in-the-wall Italian place in Arlington Heights. If you are listening and you are in Illinois, go to Joe and Giuseppe's in Arlington Heights. I forget what road it's on, but it's can't miss that name on Google Maps. It is the best Italian food I've ever had.
I'm going to go TJ's Pizza from Claremont, Iowa, which is a better pizza than Mabe's in Northeast Iowa. So if you're in Northeast Iowa and you're thinking, I need a piece of pizza, don't go to Mabe's. Mabe's is overrated, but TJ's is where it's at. All right. Jeffrey, what's yours?
I'm getting a 48 ounce tomahawk ribeye, loaded baked potato,
Nice.
side salad, and a Diet Coke.
Side salad and Diet Coke just to keep it healthy.
That's right.
As you go out, you need that help. Like,
That's right.
I mean,
I was just thinking,
don't-
do you pick something that comes out gross because you know all those other people have to deal with it afterwards?
That's a good point too.
I need some Taco Bell.
Yep. All right. Well, thanks for listening. It's been great, and go Cubs.
Go Cubbies.